Hey golfers, Dave from Fit2YouGolf. I made this video to help any golfers out there who are contemplating having a hip replacement surgery or have had it and are wondering kind of what to expect. This is my personal journey. It's basically a video diary from just a few days after my surgery up to 12 weeks about how I progressed in terms of what I was able to do in terms of golf and how I felt. I was diagnosed with arthritis due to overuse in my right hip due to martial arts for many years, and over the past couple of years it really debilitated my game in terms of lack of mobility and then later pain. Please keep in mind, this is kind of your typical disclaimer. This is my story. This is not medical advice. Don't do anything stupid without getting permission from your doctor first. But again, I'm hoping that it's just going to be helpful because when I was looking for information out there, there's some personal stories, but they tend to be kind of marketing for surgery centers. So I'm hoping this will be helpful. There's a lot of detail, so please feel free to fast forward through if there's too much. But basically it starts at 5 days after surgery with putting, and then there's updates at 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 10 weeks, and then I do a wrap up at 12 weeks. So I'll see you back at the end of the video for that. So at day 5, I'm getting around pretty well with the cane, but I can bear weight on, standing on both legs. So I thought that putting would be a place to begin. So I'm just going to roll a few putts and see how it goes. And my hope is that I can get back to another video in a week or two with maybe some light swings or some chipping or something like that. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I can do this without any discomfort. And I like having the putt out so I don't have to pick the ball up. See if I can make one here. A caddy Tarzan. Yeah. It's going okay. 2 weeks, obviously I'm walking without a cane. I can balance, put full weight on the surgical leg and balance. I can squat to probably close to 90, maybe 80 degrees or so. And when I abduct my surgical leg, I can get it to about 30, 35 degrees. I'm told by my physical therapist that I'm ahead of the curve, which of course is music to the ears of a overachiever. And I credit all the physical therapy that I did leading up to the surgery for that. Not only did I remain active and kept going to the gym, but I started with physical therapy and did that for 6 weeks. And then I had my surgery consult, and I had a 4-month wait before my surgery. And I just kept doing the physical therapy exercises that strengthen the glutes and the abductors and adductors to build up those muscles that support the hip. So I think that that's been helpful in terms of being where I am. Everybody heals differently too, and of course I credit my surgeon and the modern materials that are used now in terms of the implant. So all I'm working on now besides putting is just doing a takeaway. Just doing a takeaway. Every now and then I'll just loosely go up to a partial backswing. I'm trying not to twist too much, but I'll put up some either video or some still shots of what my takeaway looked like before and my backswing, and you'll see from those that this didn't happen. I really did not turn into my hip. I didn't have that mobility. There was I really couldn't even let my rear leg wouldn't even straighten really at all. And now just a couple weeks after surgery, that mobility has been restored. So of course I'm going to be crushing the golf ball in several weeks. But I'm really pleased with that. Of course I'm not pushing, I'm not swinging. But that's where I'm at right now, and I'll give you another update in probably a couple of weeks. Okay, so this is a month after my surgery, 30 days, just past 4 weeks, obviously. And I've advanced from putting and doing some kind of little takeaway swings to some chipping and short pitches. One of the things that I probably should have mentioned earlier is that even though I had the posterior approach surgery, I was sent home without restrictions. The only thing that I was advised not to do was internally rotate my hip while twisting in the opposite direction. I'll demonstrate that on my non-surgical leg, but it would basically mean that you turn in and then turn around as if someone was calling you. Fortunately, that's not what we do in the golf swing. The hips turn in the same direction as the torso. So I decided that I'd start with some chips. I started a few days ago just chipping around the yard. There was no pain other than the fact that my short game has gone to crap, not unlike what happens after the winter season. But I thought I'd just demonstrate just what I'm doing here with some chipping and some kind of short pitch shots. Just have a pitching wedge here, and I'm just taking just little kind of pivot turn chip shots, nothing crazy. And as I said, I have no discomfort when I do this. Okay. And now I'll hit a few kind of short pitch shots with a 7-iron. Okay, I just have a 7-iron here, mainly because if I do this with a pitching wedge, I'm likely to hit it over the net. But on this, I'm just trying to do some short kind of half shots. Not really worrying about the contact here. But just trying to, turn and kind of groove the swing back. But yeah, very comfortable. I have my 6-week follow-up with my surgeon, less than 2 weeks away, and I'm hoping I can get cleared to play soon after that. He had said probably 8 weeks in a cart after surgery. I am going golfing later this week, and by golfing I mean I'm riding in a cart and taking a pitching wedge and a putter and just chipping up and doing some putting. But it'll be nice to get back out there. So I'll do another update in a couple of weeks, let you know how that follow-up went and how I'm doing, and see you soon. Okay, so I've just had my 6-week follow-up with my surgeon, which I'll tell you about in just a minute. But first I want to go over kind of how easy it is to overdo it at this stage. After I filmed the last video at the 4-week mark, it felt so good to hit those shots into the net that I decided to go to the range. And I was just taking a very kind of easy, mostly armsy swing. I only filmed one swing, but I'll put it up here to just kind of show you what I was doing. It was very relaxed, but felt really good. I didn't have pain with it. I was transferring weight, but I wasn't trying to, so it wasn't hard on my hip. And that encouraged me so much that when I played golf 2 days later, instead of bringing 2 clubs, I brought my Sunday bag, which has, I think, 8 clubs. and I played most shots. There were several holes where I didn't drive the ball. That's still uncomfortable for my hip, or it was. So I would, just drop with my playing partner. If I, hit one offline, I just throw it in the fairway. But by the time we got to the back nine, I was feeling pretty good, and I'm pretty sure I played the whole back nine my own ball, and basically was playing bogey golf, and pretty happy with that, getting close to my usual pre-surgery distance, which was reduced from my fully healthy hip distance, but I was pretty happy with that. I woke up kind of sore the next day, but kind of bilaterally sore, and thought, well, you know what, I'll go work this out on the range. I'll go hit some more balls. And this time I was a little bit more aggressive with my swing. And again, I only filmed one swing, so again, I'll put it up here on a loop so you can just kind of see what I was doing. You'll see that this, there's a little more weight transfer, a little more speed, definitely getting closer to my usual distance with this. And I think, which I'll talk about probably maybe in the final video, I think having to swing with a bad hip corrected some of my swing faults. I tend to, kind of be a very body dominated swinger, and being more patient with my arms here. And nonetheless, I then went home and mowed the lawn. That was a Saturday. I woke up Sunday and I felt like I had set back by 3 weeks. I was hurting in a lot of places, not necessarily the joint itself, but my hip flexors, my IT band, my quads, my limp was back. I almost considered going back to the cane, and it took me a week of taking it pretty easy to recover from that. So that's my kind of my lesson. Again, I'm not making this video as medical advice at all, but that was a lesson I learned. Now, when I went for my follow-up, the surgeon was very happy with the results, happy with how the implant looked, happy with how I'd been healing. He cleared me to do whatever I want to do that doesn't bother my hip, and also that I can start doing some stretching. So when I play golf in a couple of days, I think I'm going to try to play every hole and keep score and see how that goes. Now, in terms of any other swings, I did take some swings to film a wedge review video 5 days ago, and I'll put those, a couple of them up here. I was hitting a 58 and a 54 degree, going for some 50-yard shots and 75-yard shots. So I'll put those up, and I'll put some text below to say whatever wedge I was hitting and the yardage I was going for. And I think you'll see in these swings that it was, they look more normal. I'm sure that some of the people watching this, not subscribers to the channel, and haven't seen, my videos, but when I do a review, I put my swings in, and this looks, I think will look pretty similar to the regular viewers. So my goal now is to walk a golf course with my push cart. And I'm not ready for that yet, but I'm hoping when I get to maybe 8 weeks, 10 weeks, I'll be able to do that. Now, I'm running out of time here, weather-wise. This is mid-October when I'm filming this. Usually here in the Northeast, we can get into November, sometimes through November to December, but there's no guarantee. So, I think I have 4 weeks probably to be able to work towards that goal. So my thought is I'll post another video once I've been able to do that, assuming I can, and maybe do some follow-up at that point, because what I understand is once you get to 12 weeks, no matter what version of the surgery you had, you're pretty advanced in your healing at that point, and able to do most activities. So I'll shoot to wrap it up then. Anyway, I hope this wasn't too long-winded for the 6-week update. I'll see you soon. All right, so it's just shy of 10 weeks since my hip surgery. Well, I've played golf about 4 times in the last 4 weeks. That was in a cart. It's my first attempt at walking. Course isn't too long at just over 6,000 yards from the whites, but it is hilly. So we'll see how it goes, and I'll check back in a few.
It's in.
Okay, so the good news is we're on 18 and I'm doing okay. The bad news is the last hole is 490 yards uphill. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll check in after the round. Okay, there's my second shot into this par 5. I've got 94 yards left uphill. See you on the green. Alright, so overall I gotta say I really don't have any pain. I think I'll probably be sore tomorrow, but just like I would be if I went to the gym. So I think that I didn't overdo it here. This wasn't too early, and happy to be back walking. Okay, so after I played that round of golf, I was a little sore the next day, but no more than, if I'd done some novel activity or overdid an exercise or movement that was atypical. And in fact, 2 days after I filmed that at the course, I walked a longer and more difficult course and felt really pretty good after that. And I walked one more round, a very difficult and hilly course, and that was tough. But I think some of that was more conditioning than my hip. I wanted to just end kind of on a couple of notes here. 3 things really. One is, you heard me mention that I think playing with an arthritic hip may have helped my golf swing because I had to be more intentional about pivot to the extent I was able to pivot, and weight shift. And I think that has carried over now that I have movement and I'm trying to retrain my right hip to move, trying to teach it that it's not going to be painful. It's going pretty well. In fact, I've started up with lessons again. I'll put a swing up and loop it a few times from a recent lesson where, if you look closely, you can see a little bit more hip movement in terms of loading into the right hip and then able to pivot through. So that's going to be my winter project. Next, I want to say, if I had to go back and talk to an earlier version of myself, I would say to be more patient. Overdoing it at 4 weeks really, I think, set me back both in terms of pain, but also psychologically. I was very discouraged. And so this is kind of a do as I say, not as I do, or at least I would say that to myself about this progress. I would go back and say, listen, be patient, build slowly on the gains. It's going to take time. And, come on, I'm sitting here 12 weeks and able to do, most everything, and that's pretty good. And then lastly, I want to kind of share something that I wish someone had warned me about, which is the amount of kind of ancillary soft tissue pain that you can experience. After my surgery, and for weeks, I had a lot of pain and tenderness in my up kind of lower quad, kind of the patellar tendon area. My IT band, as I had mentioned, was really tight and hurting for a while, and my hip flexors were just screaming from the day after surgery, for weeks. In fact, that's still the area that if I overdo it a little bit, or I've been sitting for a long time, that's where I feel it in my hip flexors. When I went to my 6-week follow-up, I mentioned this to the surgeon, and I like kind of how he explained it. He said, when you make changes in the joint, everything else around it gets a little pissed off. And so that kind of put my mind at ease, but I was kind of really frustrated by that because it was unexpected. And so I thought I wanted to share that just in case that's someone else's experience. So anyway, I hope this has been helpful. I know it's a lot of information, but that was my point. I really wanted to document my journey back. If you're not a subscriber to the channel, you're here because of the hip theme and not because of club building, please consider subscribing. I do videos on affordable clubs, reviews, club repair, club fitting, so hit the subscribe button. We'd love to have you here. So in the meantime, I'm gonna end this part. If I have an update down the road, I will certainly post it. But I'll sign off the way I do on all my videos, which is get out there, play some golf, and stay positive.